Welcome to the London Free Press Podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Gilbert. As you watch the Olympics, especially the men's and women's hockey, you will notice a lot of local names. And that's because London and area has produced over 10% of Canada's Olympic hockey players. And since London is only 1% of Canada's total population, that's pretty astounding. So today I'm talking with London Free Press sports reporter Ryan Pyette about London's amazing development programs. Hey, Ryan, how are you?
I'm great, Rachel. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, this is kind of a cool, these are really cool stats. I know I threw some numbers out there. Those aren't always easy to remember, but London has produced, London and area, some maybe not London proper necessarily, over 10% of London or of the Canada's Olympic hockey players this year. We have six local kids, adults, I guess, playing in the Olympics. Who are they? Who's there? I mean, we of course will know some of them or all of them.
Yeah, it's a tremendous achievement. Obviously, we'll start with the women. Devilette's a great program. So many girls go on to NCAA and U Sports, and we got Julia Gosling, a forward, up and coming, first Olympics, scoring some goals. That's what she does. 5'11". A tremendous physical specimen, and she's doing great. And for the first games, because you got a lot of veterans here at this, and Ella Shelton's one of those
Mm.
veterans. She won. She's from Ingersoll area on a farm out there, and she came to the Doublettes for her, later development. Obviously, making the drive in like a lot of girls do. And this is her second Olympics. She won in Beijing. She's been to a bunch of world championships. She's a star defenseman on the Toronto Scepters and a terrific player. And she's got more in her. I think she's 27, 28 years old. She'll be playing at a couple more games. But once the women sort themselves out and improve this team based on when they played the last 4-game series with the Americans, it didn't go well. And
Yeah.
obviously the first game at the Olympics didn't go well either. They lost 5-0.
And
So
we
they
should
got
mention
some,
at the time
yeah,
of this recording, the women haven't yet played the final gold medal game. So we at
yeah,
this time we don't know the outcome.
yeah.
Yeah. And as for the men, we've got four men
Yeah,
from the
yeah.
local
So
area.
obviously the local kids, Drew Dowdy and Nick Suzuki, can't call them kids anymore, like you
Yeah.
said. Drew Dowdy has won it all. Amazing player, getting to the twilight of his career, and with the LA Kings, one team. Spectacular that he's played for the same team since he was 18 years old, and Nick Suzuki, the youngest captain in the history of the Montreal Canadiens, and he's been a terrific player, smart player, two-way player. Since he was 16 years old, even before that with the Junior Knights, 15 years old, 14 years old, and just clutch. No one has a clutch. That's what you got to do at the international stage. You score some clutch goals, and then obviously you got the Knights, and you got Mitch Marner, who everybody knows, a famous London Knight, scoring a big goal against Czechia. And then Bo Horvat played in Elgin Middlesex, grew up in Rodney, obviously a London Knight, did a ton of his training here and at the Western Fair and growing up. And obviously with the Islanders now after being the captain of the Vancouver Canucks. So we don't know. It's just not the volume of players that London produces, but it's the quality. These are all
Mhm.
captain material players and leaders and big game players, and that's really nice to see for a city this size. It's one of the greatest hockey factories in the world, London, and we don't say that enough, right? It really is unbelievable how many players come from here.
You call it a hockey factory, but what is it about London that specifically that produces such great talent?
Yeah, I think as I wrote in the story, there's a little bit of the Knights factor. The hunters coming and putting the product that they have for the last 25 years. The story I told about is Danny Severette, the captain of the '05 Knights. He would have his skates, his pro skates, which are some of the best pro skates, like I said, in North America and the world, right before they go to training camp. And a couple of times Drew Doughty's like and him would be talking and say, I was 15, 16 years old when you guys were winning the '05 Memorial Cup. I remember watching you guys. And the point was made that you're not just watching, like everybody in their town watches their junior hockey team or whatever, but you were watching like the greatest hockey team, and so you learn that you always learn from watching what you can of hockey, and obviously hockey players love watching hockey. They all, if there's a game on, they'll watch it, just like us as fans and all that. We'll,
Mm-hmm.
we'll watch as many games as we can, and so you learn from that. You learn this is a high quality level of hockey. If I want to, do I dump the puck in here, or like Nick Suzuki, do I chase it and carry it and create a one man forecheck while the line's changing and all that? That's stuff that a lot of these guys learned watching the London Knights and their systems throughout the year. And they always say the Knights are the players that come through here. Corey Perry, all those guys say nothing gets you prepared for NHL and high level hockey than playing for Dale and Mark, and that's a big fact. That's a big factor.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is geography. We're not. If you live in Guelph or you live down in Windsor or something like that, the temptation is there to go play for a team in Michigan like Little Caesars or Honey Bay, or in Guelph, Kitchener. It's not that far a drive to go to Toronto and play for the junior Canadians and all that. We're kind of
Right.
where we are. It's a little too far unless you're going to move. And some kids have done that. They've moved to Oakville or whatever and played there. But I think the last 20 years, it's been the Junior Knights are a good organization. You got Elgin too, which has been a fantastic organization at the AAA level, and the Devil. I'll throw the Devilettes in there on the women's side. You don't
Yeah.
have to go. You don't have to go to Toronto. You don't have to go to Detroit. We're right smack in the middle. You could play here, and it's terrific. And the other thing is because of that, I think of Dwayne Blay with his development program, the skills development. Obviously, he's doing it in the NHL now, but obviously in London, and we've had great coaches. We've had great individual skill coaches. I think of Brian Rodney, who started defensive for defensemen. He's obviously coaching minor hockey now, but when he finished his career, he's like, I want to start a business, and it was teaching defensemen how to defend and how to make the passes out. And you get quality like that. Danny Severette is coaching the U16 junior Knights team that produces. He's got 10 to 12 players that are going to go and play in the OHL next year. What better guy to show you how to get ready for the OHL, watching video, looking at statistical breakdowns and that than him, right?
Yeah.
So he's a forward-thinking guy, played for the Hunters. You got all these little things in the city. You got a ton of goalie coaches that are fantastic. Obviously they bring out kids, and they also bring out shooters. Like I think of the goalie coaches. You need Logan Couture. Hey, if you're trying to get a junior, how great is it for a 15-year-old goalie to have Logan Couture shooting on you, or the Rubrooks like Ryan
Mm.
Rubrook and Dylan Rubrook? Like this is stuff that you can't get everywhere, right? If you're growing up in out in BC or even in Montreal or something like that, or Helsinki or over there, like you don't have that kind of expertise and quality here. And obviously London, the city of London deserves some. We used to have those. Like I was a teenager here, and we didn't have the best rinks, right? We had Shiver Woods and some of these rinks, and the Western Fair, and obviously the downtown rink, Canada Life Place, has made a major
Yeah.
difference, right? And in the way the kids are able to get opportunities and ice times, and the Devilettes having their own room at the old Brookside at London
Right.
Sports Park.
Yep.
Unbelievable opportunity there for the girls, and they don't have to leave to play junior to make it feel like a real pro-like atmosphere. So that's
Yeah.
great.
A lot of the former London Knights who have then become NHLers and retired, a lot of them end up back here in London. They come, either they're from here or maybe they're not from here and they still come back and live here. And then we get, as you said, these amazing coaches and they're working with local kids and developing. So this is like a snowball effect. It's
Yeah.
we have great development already, and then we continue attracting these amazing talents to develop new kids, right?
Yeah, Brandon Prust has a gym that he trains kids at. He coached Junior B, for a couple years. I saw Rob Shump. I see him a few times at the Knights games, and he's moved back here. And he's always told me, and he's kind of helped. He's in the hockey. He's doing a bunch of things, but he's in the hockey business where in terms of helping skill development. And there's the guy that he always told me, Ryan, this was the happiest I've ever been playing hockey was here in London.
Mm.
And I just talked to Jim Sandlak, who's going in the Hall of Fame. He obviously there's a factor in if your significant other is from here. You could end up here, but these guys play in the NHL. They could fall in love with their places they go to and stay
Yeah.
there. But no, there's something about London. It's not too big and it's not too small, and
Mm-hmm.
it's right in the middle of everything, right? So
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of that goes back to the geography, but I think obviously the people and the hockey culture that's here. I mean, why Don Boyd, who's the Ottawa Senators head scout, he lives here. I did a story years ago about all the NHL scouts that live here, and it just kind of goes hand in hand. They want to be here. It's easy access to get to the places you need to be, and it's a good place
Yeah.
to live. So, and this isn't just hockey, Rachel. We've talked before about the Olympians we produce, and that's
Oh,
outside.
absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
outside too. So, it's just one of those
We've got
things.
figure skaters and rowers and track star, decathlon, athlete. We have so many. We're so lucky.
It was weird seeing Scott Moore wearing an American jacket, though, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. But I
But
get it. He's
that's
got
the
a
thing.
job to do.
They get into the business of their sport, and
Yep.
like he's coaching, and then you got all these. You had the Hunters. They could have bought a team somewhere else, but they bought it here, right? They obviously live in
Mm-hmm.
Sarnia area, and Dale obviously lives here now, but
Mm-hmm.
they you add all that together and this is a destination. I think when the open borders came up like, is this going to keep happening? I think it will, because the open borders came up. This is the first year, and the junior Knights are winning all kinds of games. The Devilettes winning all kinds of games like
Yeah.
throughout their organization. They're one of the better organizations in Ontario. So you're
Yeah.
going to see kids want to come here. It just raises the competitive level, and then
Sure.
it helps the kids compete at obviously when I grew up, Toronto, you couldn't beat Toronto. They had 14 guys that were going to go to the NHL, right? So, but now you have 13, 14 guys that are going to play major junior hockey, and
Yeah.
you could have 5 or 6 more in the NHL. And just as Kadri and Doughty and Couture wrapped up his, Joe Thornton wrapped up his, we're going to have more guys, right? Suzuki's the next wave, and then we're going to have guys after that. So it's
Yep.
just kind of
Yep.
a snowball effect.
It keeps happening.
Yeah.
Talk about the Devilettes and like the London Junior Knights and other similar programs and the kinds of coaches that they are attracting and retaining. Who are we getting, and maybe who are we weeding out? Maybe that's more important, because maybe other cities don't have that opportunity, because we have so much choice in terms of coaches and people helping these young kids develop.
Yeah, if you want to have the best program, you better have coaches that players want to play for and that their parents want to send them to.
Hmm.
And it's not like the old days where they make you skate and yell at you and kick as much as I love Letterkenny and Shoresy, you don't have a guy saying it's embarrassing and kicking the kick. Maybe once in a while you could do that if people aren't listening to you, but you can't do that all the time. The kids are a different generation. They're not intimidated by adults anymore. It's not, and the rink should be a place where you go and you have fun with your friends,
Yep.
learn new skills, and it's not always about winning. But I always find if you're friends with your teammates and you work on your skills and you bond together as a team, you're going to win. we see that with the Olympic men's team. You know, the couple of things. Tom Wilson got in a fight that to stick up for Nathan McKinnon. The team wins with Sidney Crosby gets hurt. Yeah, it's the same thing at 14 years old or 12 years old. Somebody else has to, goalie gets hurt, the other goalie has to step up. And you have to, these are life lessons that you have to learn. And it's part of why playing hockey is so great. And, that obviously what I find about the organizations, talking to Kevin Gardner, talking to the Devilettes, is if they got a great coach, they want to really build something with them. You don't have to. It was used to be, you get a kid if you're a parent coaching your kid, you get them at 9 and then you coach them all the way up to 15 or 16. If you got good successful coaches, leave them in their place. If it's not working, then get them out, kind of thing. There's no entitlement to there shouldn't be anyway. There shouldn't be entitlement to the job because it's a volunteer job, and that's what you could. I mean, we could talk about Toronto all day about people getting paid $100,000 to coach a minor sports team or whatever, but because there's cases like that. But it's a volunteer job. Make it fun. Make people want to play for you, and then that's how you build your program. Not unlike the Hunters. People want to play there. It's a destination, and good players gravitate towards you. And it's the same as from what I heard about Paul Dowdy and Rob Suzuki as hockey dads. They dropped their kids off and kind of kept a close eye on them, but didn't interfere with the coaching. And they got great coaching. And that's it's something that I always think parents should be vigilant on who's coaching their kids and all that. But you got to let the coach do his job, right? You can't
trust them too. Yeah.
You can't fight them over ice time. I think if you were growing up at 14, 15 and Logan Couture and Drew Doughty are on your team, they're going to get the most ice time, right? Like that's probably like if you're fighting that, you're fighting against the grain there.
Yeah. We're talking about the Olympics, but also the Paralympics. We've got a couple of local players in the Paralympics too.
Yeah, again, the London Blizzard is a phenomenal program, and it's obviously kind of like there's satellite programs in para hockey, which I used to call sledge, right? But para hockey now, and Tyler McGregor and James Dunn, they're not from London, but they've trained here, and obviously this is the biggest city where you come in for competition and you play good, and they've been stalwarts on the Paralympic team, and I really hope they do get the gold medal. It's kind of like there could be it's an American kind of, the Americans are the best, right, and the Canadians are right there always trying to catch up to them, trying to get that extra couple goals in the finals and stuff like that. So hopefully they can break through there. And Tyler McGregor is a great goal scorer. James Dunn is a tremendous player. And it's fun to see that too. Like it's just, I think there's a commercial there that has been playing that shows, I want to say it's Tyler, that, you get hurt or you get cancer and you feel like your hockey dream's over, but it's not, right? Like if you recover from that and you put your effort into it. And I just want to say, like, I've tried it before. It's like hard. It's like, I was pretty good at passing the puck in between, like, I guess you call it stick handling, but man, it's core. What a core workout. My core
hockey
is
hard. Hockey is hard. Just generally. And then you go on a do it on your butt, sitting. That's hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm interested in your experience as a reporter because you've been I don't know how many years, but you've been a sports reporter in London for many years. And you've got to interview a lot of these up and comers and these the knights and the junior knights, and then they become NHLers and these guys. And there's so many of them, as we've been talking about. Do reporters in other cities get that privilege that you've had to develop relationships with these guys and so many of them?
Well, in their teams they do, but London sends the Knights and London, like we talked about, sends a lot of players on to to great things. So
Yeah.
yeah, they don't get that same volume, I guess. But the best part of the job has always been meeting these kids and
Yeah.
seeing they all have the same, like if I was to say, they all have that same will and passion to them. The ones that don't make it don't, and they all, you start from Jesse Fleming in soccer to Damien, to Alicia Newman,
Yeah.
and then you go onto the hockey rink. It's the same, and that's why they have so much in common. They're all, doesn't matter what sport they're playing. They got the same drive to be the best, and that comes out early. Obviously, I get to see, obviously, the junior knights and the Devilettes. I kind of follow pretty closely on who's on those teams, and they go on to these big things, and it's so funny when something like when Mitch Marner scores the goal, it's like there's a sense of pride because we saw him score big goals for the London Knights, or
Yeah.
everybody in London's like, that's our guy, kind of thing.
Right.
And
Yeah.
everybody kind of, you do feel kind of, your heart kind of breaks for him when what happened in Toronto, right? That he had to leave, or he got forced out, or
Mm-hmm.
left, that sort of thing. And I think it's the same thing. You always want the best for the kids that when you meet them. They're all generally good kids, so it's almost like when they graduate and they go on to these special things, you always keep in touch with them, right? And
Yeah.
it's
And you
it,
interviewed them so much at the start of their careers that, they know you, they remember you, they remember, talking to you. You were the one who always wanted to talk with them before they were big stars, right? So that's probably memorable for them.
yeah, you always remember. Like I said, it's a blur. It's a blur when you go into these Olympic things and you're in a big media scrum. It's a blur of cameras and microphones, and you're
Mm,
not really. You're just kind of saying what you got to say. But when they spot somebody that they've seen when they were 15, 16 years old, and they weren't getting interviewed,
yeah.
and it was a special thing to be interviewed, and it was a special thing to be in the paper or on TV or on the radio with Mike Stubbs. Like those are special things that those guys. I'm sure a lot of them don't care to do any more interviews anymore
Sure.
because
Yeah.
they've done a lot of them over the years when they're in the spotlight like that. But it's something that I always, the famous example for me was at the 2010 Olympic final, the men's game when Sidney Crosby scored. I was in charge of the American dressing room, so I had to go get quotes from the Americans, and that's tough because they just had their heart broken. They lost in overtime. They don't want to talk to anybody. They want to go in
Mm,
the room and curl up or slam sticks or cry or whatever.
yeah.
But Patrick Kane walked by and I stood at the fence, and he said, "Hey, Ryan," and then he stopped and talked to me because he knew me. And then all of a sudden, the Chicago guys and the ESPNs and the TSNs all crowded, and I was
Yeah.
up against the fence there asking questions. But that's what you get, right? And I know
Yeah.
guys across the OHL and across that cover junior B and all these, even minor hockey. It's the first. It's kind of like the first thing you remember, the first people that talk to you. Like obviously,
Yeah.
the kids in London would know me, Brent Lale, and Mike Stubbs,
Mm-hmm.
and sort of things like that. But that's been going on, for decades, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's nice. I guess that's a nice feeling to kind of
Yeah.
that they don't just walk past you and ignore you.
Well, it's a privilege to be, in my opinion, a journalist, a reporter, and be able to witness all of that, you know, firsthand, up close and personal. So thank you, Ryan. It's a fascinating story. So I'm happy that we were able to talk to you about it today. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, London keeps doing amazing things.